Good afternoon, this is Keith Hall, and today we're going to be talking about creating a new measure in Power BI Desktop. And this measure is going to be the total revenue for all the transactions within a table. So let's review the tables first that are going to be affected by this. So if right now we're going to use products table and the transaction table. So basically we want to get the total revenue for all transactions, okay, that occur within the transaction table. And this table is linked with the products table through using a field called product ID. So you can see there's a product ID in the transaction table, product ID here. So that's how these two tables are linked together. And what we want to do is we want to get the total revenue. Now, basically what that means is we're going to take the quantity for a particular transaction, let's say right here on this particular date, we're going to take the quantity and we're going to jump over to the products table, linked through the product ID. And then through that product ID in this table, we're going to look up the product retail price. And then we're going to take the product retail price for that product ID and multiply it by the quantity. And then we're going to be iterating through all the rows. We're going to be going through that process. And it's going to store each individual calculation in memory. And then at the end, it's going to sum the product, basically, sum the value of that transaction and give us a total value. So let's go back to the report view. So as I said, we have a transaction table that reports all the transactions. And this table is then linked to the products table through the product ID field. So the syntax that we're going to be using, this is going to be our measure, the total revenue. I just put SUMX after it, but this is the measure that we're going to create. And we're going to be using the SUMX function and DAX, which is an iterative function, and you'll understand more about that shortly. And the syntax for that is the first argument is the table. And the table is the table that contains the rows for which the expression will be evaluated. In this case, the table is the transaction data table. The expression is, meaning is what type of calculation are we going to use for this particular table? And that expression is to be evaluated for each row of the table. Like I said, we're going to take the quantity field in the transaction table. We're going to come back over to the products table, link through the product ID, and then we're going to look up the product retail price for that particular product ID and multiply the product retail price by the quantity in this table. So basically that's what's happening here. And as you can see, the SUMX function is we're going to take the table, which is the transaction data table, and then this is the expression that we're going to be using. We're going to be taking the quantity in the transaction table, multiplying it by its related retail price. Related basically means that we're going to relate this transaction table through the product ID field with the products table and look up the product retail price. So here's a summarization. So SUMX iterates over each row in the transaction data table. The expression is the transaction data table quantity field. We're going to multiply that by its related products table product retail price. And what this does is it calculates the revenue, okay, for the current row by multiplying the quantity with the corresponding product retail price. After it iterates through each and every row and performs this calculation here for each row, then SUMX then sums up the calculated revenue values for all the rows. So let's go ahead and create this measure. Okay, let's copy this here. Control C. Let's go over to the transaction data table. Up here, there's many different ways where you can create a measure, but this way I'll show you. Select the table, come up here to the ribbon, and it says new measure. Give it a second to populate the area form by bar area. Control V. Let's clean this up. Let's get rid of these extra spaces. I'm just using the delete key. And then you're going to press enter. Okay. And it creates this new measure over here underneath the transaction data table. So let's now create a visual. Let's see. Let's go up here. Grab the, in this case, the matrix visual. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add this new measure to this visual. Okay. And it comes up with this value. So if you want to change the format of this value, so this is the total revenue for all transactions that occurred based upon the product ID and retail price for each transaction that had occurred. So this is the total value. If you want to format it, let's go back over here. Let's select this measure. Let's come up here and let's select currency. And as you could say, it creates a currency format. I'm going to separate it. Now let's bring this down to 0 decimal places. Press enter. And there's your value. So that's how you could, in this particular case, utilize the SUMX function and create a total revenue for all of your transactions that occurred in your data set. Hopefully this tutorial was easy for you to understand. It explained the SUMX function. And please like and share this video and comment as you see fit. And also, please remember to subscribe because that'll give you an update every time I upload a new video. And I upload videos at this time every week. And right now I focus directly on Excel and Power BI, but I will be adding other Microsoft products, including Microsoft Word, and eventually I'll be looking into PowerPoint tutorials also. Thanks again for stopping by. You have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.